Ha! Red eyes, scales, massive wings. When Mr. Awelewa first arrived at Moyosola's mansion, everyone thought he was a godsend, the perfect, respectful driver who never made a mistake. But he had no idea he was a veteran soul hunter sent from the occult. Moyosola froze in the doorway of his room. Our perfect new driver was gone. In his place stood a soul-hunting beast from the occult, staring straight into her soul, right there in the heart of Lagos. Red, not bloodshot, not tired, red. As Mr. Awelewa opened the car door for her, his gaze met ours for a split second. A chill dragged down her spine. Colored eyes were rare in Nigeria, but red? That was something else. She froze mid-step, heart thudding, replaying that moment in her mind. There was something deeply off about this man. Something she couldn't name but felt in her bones. Just last week, life had already warned her. The smell of akara, raw fruits on the stands, bus drivers and conductors shouting, women and men chasing cars for customers, walking children weaving through traffic. These sights framed Lagos as Moyosola sped past. Mother and wife, she was still shaking from a terrible dream the night before. Weird, strange creatures whispered about her. She had brushed it off and carried on with her day. Driving quickly, she received a text from a friend. Her boss, the CEO, was looking for her. Distracted, she didn't see the truck with failed brakes hurtling towards her. The horn tore through the air. A violent, urgent warning. Moyosola's eyes snapped up, yanked back into reality. She grabbed the wheel, abandoning the phone sliding from her lap. She swerved hard, narrowly avoiding the truck and slamming against the bridge barrier as her phone tumbled to the footwell. The car's safety system triggered, and the airbag exploded into her face, giving her a slight concussion she tried to ignore. Staggering out, she rushed to the back seat, praying under her breath. Her daughter was safe. Shaking and in tears, she lifted the child and wept. The terror of that moment convinced her she needed a driver immediately. Market women scattered, not to help, but to protect their wares. There was no sympathy. The officers nearby only stayed to keep her from being robbed. An hour later, an ambulance finally arrived. At the hospital, she waited several more minutes before anyone attended to her. The negligence from both police and hospital hardened something in her. She vowed never to be at their mercy again. She announced she would get a driver as soon as she got home. And the gate man, Babadara, warned her to be very careful and prayerful in choosing one. The next week, she sat in the parlor with her husband, reviewing candidates. She was ruthless, dismissing applicants over the smallest errors. The entire day slipped by. Her husband rubbed his head, knowing no one would seem good enough to her after that accident. The next day, after tossing yet another resume into the trash, he was ready to suggest driving the family himself. But then the fourth candidate walked in. Mr. Awelewa entered in casual native attire, about 6 feet tall, with neatly trimmed hair and beard streaked with grey. Something shifted in the room when he arrived. Moyosola couldn't explain it, but she felt different. She questioned him carefully. He answered every question smoothly. Her husband warmed to him quickly, already imagining he wouldn't need to drive them anymore. Moyosola was impressed, but not sold. She insisted on a test drive. As they headed to the car, he stepped ahead and pulled the door open for her. She smiled and thanked him, then caught sight of his eyes. Red. She paused, her heart trembling. That same chilling feeling washing over her again, stronger this time. Moyosola glanced at the man's eyes in the rear view mirror, just to be sure. Black, ordinary, like everyone else's. She exhaled, annoyed at herself for overreacting. The rest of the ride was smooth. By the time they reached the mansion, she had convinced herself to hire him. The following week, the new driver started work. He slipped into the family's routine with ease. School runs, market trips, late-night airport pickups. Deji, her husband, was impressed. "This your driver is good though," he would say, clapping Awelewa on the back. The children loved him too. They called him Uncle Awelewa, laughing at his jokes and begging for more stories. On the surface, everything was perfect, but not for Moyosola. Anytime he was near, a cold wave would crawl over her skin. She couldn't explain it. At night, it got worse. When she slept, he found her. In her dreams, Awelewa stood at the foot of her bed, his eyes glowing red, horns pushing through his skull, wings stretching to touch the ceiling. She would jerk awake, drenched in sweat, her heart racing. Deji always slept peacefully beside her, unaware. Sometimes, just to prove to herself that it was all in her head, she would tiptoe to the boys' quarters. Through the small window, she would see Mr. Awelewa lying on his bed, breathing calmly like a normal man. Yet the chill refused to leave her body. On certain evenings, the gateman would shake his head and mutter proverbs. "Madam, don't be everybody wey dey smile get clean hand," he would say. She forced a laugh and brushed him off as old and superstitious. Days turned into weeks. Her husband liked him. Her children adored him. The staff respected him. Slowly, Moyosola began to wonder if the real problem was her. Still, the unease would not let her rest. Paranoia clung to her like a shadow. She thought of telling Deji but stopped herself. He was the jealous type. One wrong word and he might think she was not comfortable with another man for the wrong reasons. So she kept quiet and went searching for help elsewhere. One morning, when the house was calm, she slipped out and headed to a famous pastor's office. He welcomed her warmly, listened as she poured out her dreams and fears, then led her into a long, intense prayer session. Afterwards, he leaned back, face grave. "Your case is serious, my daughter. This is not ordinary. We must do special prayers." Then came the bill. He listed materials they would need, speaking as if they were preparing a sacrifice. The amount he named made her chest tighten. "How much will you pay to buy back your peace?" he asked softly. In the end, trembling but desperate, Moyosola paid in full. Weeks passed, nothing changed. The dreams returned, sharper than before. Sometimes in broad daylight, she would catch a flash of scarlet in Mr. Awelewa's eyes, gone as soon as she blinked. She started thinking of firing him, but she needed a reason Deji would accept. The next day, she tried a different tactic. She snapped at him, gave him impossible instructions, insulted his driving, delayed his meals, anything to push him to react. Still, Mr. Awelewa remained calm. "Sorry, madam." "No problem, madam." His politeness only made her feel worse. Guilt fought with fear inside her chest. That evening, as she was about to enter the house, he called out gently, "Madam, are you trying to upset me? This isn't like you." The chilling sensation slammed into her again. Before she realized it, she was apologizing to him. That night, lying in bed, she bit her lip in frustration. Her plan had failed before it even began. But while the rest of the house slept, Mr. Awelewa did not. In his room at the boys' quarters, he quietly shut the door and removed his neat official clothes. Underneath, strange tribal marks and deep incisions covered his chest and back like a secret map. He reached for a covered calabash on a small wooden stool and opened it. A thick, dark liquid shimmered inside. He dipped his fingers, rubbed the liquid over his face. His true form emerged. Red eyes burned in the moonlight. His skin hardened into glistening scales. Massive wings unfurled, brushing the walls. Silver whiskers curled from his cheeks like those of some ancient creature. A hybrid spirit of land and sea stood where the driver once was. Prepared, Awelewa began to chant. Strange words rolled off his tongue in quick, sharp bursts. The room darkened, the air thickened, and then he was gone. He slipped into the spirit realm. In a vast, shadowy meeting place, he appeared among others, heads turned. For a moment, everyone watched him cautiously. Then murmurs of greeting spread. They were a twisted gathering. Mermaids from the deep, earthly demons bound to forests and crossroads, and other hybrids like him. Awelewa stepped forward, a veteran among them. For years, whenever a wealthy, joyful family was spotted, the occult sent him into their lives. He would enter as a blessing, sit quietly in their midst, then slowly turn their happiness to ashes. He would become the trusted uncle, the wise advisor, the calm driver. He would wait, watch, then strike, burning everything he touched. As he gave his report on Moyosola's family, the spirits listened closely. Each detail of how he had gained their trust filled them with a wicked joy. Laughter echoed through the dark hall, applause rising as they praised his patience and skill. When their meeting finally ended, Awelewa turned away from the gathering of spirits and returned to the sleeping family's home. The next day, Awelewa was about to drive out when the gatesman raised a hand. Wait, another car they enter. His words jolted Moyosola. Awelewa's brow folded in concern. But inside, this was part of his plan. A black car rolled in. A huge man in dark shades stepped out, shot Awelewa a smug smirk, then opened the back door. A woman in her 50s emerged, dripping in jewelry and fancy clothes. It was Deji's mother. Mama, welcome. You said surprise visit, but at least you could have sent a text, Moyosola said, dropping to her knees in Yoruba greeting. Mama lifted her up, kissed her cheeks, and hugged her tight. As they pulled apart, Awelewa stepped forward to greet her, voice smooth, posture respectful. Mama was instantly charmed and asked who he was. He's the new driver, Moyosola replied. Recent events made someone like him necessary. Necessary, huh? Alright, what is your name, young man? Mama said, offering her hand. Mama was urban and cosmopolitan from years abroad. It showed in how she talked and behaved. When Moyosola saw her stretch her hand towards him, she tried to stop it, but too late. Awelewa took Mama's hand, kissed it lightly, locking eyes with her as he introduced himself. Moyosola stared, stunned, wondering why a man like this settles for being a driver. Mama frowned playfully. Don't use those tones with me. Respect yourself, young man. I'm happily married, you know. She held a serious face for a bit, then burst into laughter. The others joined in. The men carried their bags as they all walked inside. While Awelewa caught a death glare from Mama's driver, Wale, Deji almost shouted when he saw his mother. He rushed to her, prostrated, while she sang his oriki in rich Yoruba. When she finished, he stood and hugged her. The children soon poured in, taking turns hugging their grandmother. Mama held them close, singing playful songs for each. From the corner, Awelewa watched, eyes briefly glowing red as his face hardened. For the first time, his malice surfaced. The hair grew colder. But when Mama turned towards where he had stood, he was gone. Outside, he fetched a bucket, pretending to watch Mama's car. Laughter from inside floated out, scratching at his nerves. Not for long, he muttered, trying to steady himself. His bloodlust surged. Scales began to push through his skin. Inside, the familiar chill tightened around Moyosola's chest. It became unbearable. She excused herself and went to look for him. By the time she reached him, Awelewa had forced himself back into human form. This time, when she drew near, she felt nothing. No cold, no warning. It was both soothing and terrifying. Had she been wrong about him all along? Guilt washed over her. Soon, the house turned into a quiet war zone. Deji and Mama clashed. Then Mama and Moyosola. Then Deji and his wife. Sides shifted daily, their bond cracking spiritually and emotionally. On such days, Awelewa played counselor. In the morning, gentle advice to Deji. In the afternoon, wise words for Mama. In the night, soft comforts for Moyosola. None of them knew he was advising all three. All of them trusted him. They ignored the gateman's persistent warnings. Awelewa smiled whenever he saw the only man who knew the truth being dismissed. Time passed, and he kept moving pieces on the board until he struck gold. One day, the whole family went out, leaving only Mama and Awelewa at home. Wale watched from behind the curtain, jaw tight as Mama and Awelewa drank beer and talked. Though he looked about 40, his depth and smooth wisdom drew her in. Mama grew tipsy. When she leaned closer, ready to cross a line, he stopped her. Your driver is watching from behind the curtain, he said calmly, eyes on us. Mama spun, voice rising. Wale, you are eavesdropping? Come here. Wale walked in slowly, ashamed and angry. One look at Awelewa's calm face and it cost him in his heart. Mama ranted for over a minute, then sent Wale on a long errand. Once he left, Mama drifted back into Awelewa's arms. His charm deepened. His voice wrapped around her senses. That day, they slept together, just as he had planned. With that act, he bound her will. From then on, Mama obeyed his every instruction. The gentle advice became direct orders she could not resist. She was a slave, rewarded with intimacy at random. Meanwhile, the family kept tearing itself apart. Moyosola blamed Mama. Mama blamed Deji. Deji blamed his wife. Even the children began to sense something was very wrong. One evening, they sat with their mother to talk about the chaos at home. Moyosola sighed, a bittersweet ache in her chest. She was proud of their awareness, but it hurt that they could see the cracks. She tapped her forehead, searching for words, when Awelewa suddenly appeared, smiling. The children gasped. He stood there in his full monstrous form. Scales, whiskers, everything. Yet only they seemed to notice. They clung to their mother, terrified. To Moyosola, it looked perfectly human, only wearing a teasing smile. She laughed nervously and sent the kids inside. They obeyed, still staring back at him. Awelewa sat with his favorite victim. Moyosola poured out her heart, listening to his every word as if it were truth. She thanked him and smiled brightly. He smiled back, placing his hand over hers, holding her gaze. Heat and confusion flooded her. Ungodly feelings flickered in her chest. At the last second, she snapped out of it, pulled her hand away and broke eye contact. She stood abruptly, muttered an excuse and hurried to her room, praying no one had seen that moment. Awelewa didn't follow. He rose calmly, adjusted his shirt and walked to his quarters. Behind his closed door, his features resurfaced. He reached for his magical bowl, rubbed its content on his face and slipped back to the occult realm. Then he reported everything. The leaders roared with laughter, enjoying the rare sight of his frustration. Together, they devised the final plan. Break the last pillar, Moyosola's will. Once she fell, the family would crumble. Awelewa agreed and returned to the land of the living. That night, after the usual round of arguments, he sat with Deji. Tonight, he would try something desperate for desperate times. So when Deji spoke, Awelewa did not defend the woman or correct the man. Instead, Awelewa urged him to secure himself quietly, insisting Moyosola no longer loved him. Deji was torn by such a bold claim from his driver, yet he leaned in, listening. After some years, most wives get tired, Awelewa said softly. Love fades. They hide it well. Later, respect also dies. And that is when everything collapses. People think the love suddenly vanished, but it was gone long ago. So what should the man do? Deji asked, voice tight. Can he win her back Or is it useless? I still love my wife. When she doesn't feel the same, we can just divorce. No, Awelewa replied calmly. That will ruin you. People will blame you. Your family will call you wicked. Your children will resent you. There is a better way. Get a mistress. Deji gasped. The thought had never crossed his mind. But now, it sounded strangely wise. Remember, they hadn't been intimate since the last baby and suspected she had someone else. He sighed deeply, feeling as if a new part of his brain had awakened. But it was a lie. Dark power was eating at his mind, twisting his values. What once disgusted him now felt reasonable. Soon he obeyed. He found the invested girl, and before long they were meeting almost every day. Betrayal became easy once his mind was no longer his own. Meanwhile, Moyosola got a big promotion at work. It shocked her because she hadn't been at her best since childbirth. Still, she took it, happy to escape the house drama for longer hours. In her absence, Mama and Awelewa had more time for their wild affairs, giving him room to tighten his grip. One evening, as they lay in bed, she noticed his distant look and panicked, thinking she had failed him. He sighed, claiming it wasn't that. He just felt used. Sitting up, he said he needed proof she cared. Half of our company now run by Deji. Mama froze, immediately refusing. Without arguing, he rose to leave. At the door, she broke, clung to him and offered the whole company instead. He accepted and lay with her again. The plan was working. With her lawyer's help, she secretly transferred all the company's assets and rights to him. Deji kept running the business unaware. Mama kept playing with fire, and Moyosola drifted, blind to the darkness swallowing her home. As long as money flowed, she told herself they were fine. One Sunday, everyone was lazing around, ready to skip church again, when Moyosola got a call. A close friend said she felt strongly that Moyo should come to church and see her. Moyosola hesitated until that familiar chill swept over her, the same one from Mama's arrival. Without overthinking it, they decided to go. Deji and Mama refused, so she left with the children. In church, the sermon began cutting too close to her reality. She stared at her friend. She hadn't shared anything, yet the pastor's words pierced every hidden wound. Then the prayer started. The pastor called her out several times with shocking accuracy. The signs were too specific to ignore. Moyo knew she had met a genuine man of God. After service, she met him in his office. He explained that both he and her friend had seen the same revelation about her family, an urgent warning from God. Moyosola sat up, fully alert. He spoke of a heavy demonic assignment against her home because of the good she was destined to do. An evil servant, he said, had entered their house and was living with them. She didn't need a name. She knew. Awelewa. As she poured out her experiences, he told her how close she had come to falling into the same trap as Mama, and that only God's mercy had pulled her back that day. He gathered a few deacons, anointed them, and together they set out to confront the smooth-talking demon. At the house, it looked quiet. Deji was with his mistress. Mama lay in a deep, unnatural sleep. Only Awelewa waited in the parlor, calmly sipping wine like the master of the house. The church team was stunned to learn it was just the driver. Awelewa, your time is up in my home, Moyosola shouted. I know your evil plans. You will not hurt my family again. Finally, he smiled. You are using your eyes. But this crowd is useless. They can't save you. How could you? She cried. We trusted you. My children loved you. All this just to finish your stupid mission. Why me? Don't be naive, he sneered. It's not personal. This is my work, just like your own job. Those companies you crush also ask, why me? He laughed, eyes turning red as scales crept over his skin. That's enough, demon, the pastor cut in. We didn't come to negotiate. We came to cast you out. Your reign ends today. The team thundered, Amen, making Awelewa flinch. You lack the power for this, he hissed. I am too exalted for men like you. And it's already too late. The company is mine. Mama gave it to me. Your husband has been cheating for weeks. There's nothing left to save. Give up. Silence, the pastor commanded. Your time is over here. Prepare for evacuation. They joined hands and began to pray. At first, Awelewa laughed until the power of God fell heavy on him. Panicking, he called for backup and kept firing words at Moyosola's mind. But her will held firm as she prayed with everything in her. The fire intensified. Heat pressed against him. Desperate, he summoned weapons and launched, but blinding flames from heaven blocked his attacks. He and the other spirits screamed as they fled the compound in terror. The prayer team moved through every room, pouring oil, pleading the blood of Jesus, and reclaiming the house. In Mama's room, the pastor saw chains around her soul, and by God's power, broke them. That day, her life turned back to God. When Deji returned, spiritual scales fell from his eyes. He broke down, begging his wife for forgiveness. The family sat together as the pastor prayed, counseled and corrected them. Outside, the gateman watched it all, whispering thanks that peace had finally returned. Discerning the spirits around us takes more than money or comfort. Moyosola's family almost fell apart because they valued polished behavior over inner truth. We must stay alert to people who weaponize kindness and charm. Real protection comes from a strong spirit and the courage to question what looks perfect. When that cold warning wind blows, listen. Ignoring evil is the same as welcoming it. Warriors, remember, evil rarely knocks with a scary face. It smiles, stabs, and slowly enters the home. When that cold wind of warning blows in your spirit, don't ignore it. If this tale opened your eyes, like this video, subscribe to join the African Wealth Warriors, and watch the next story to sharpen your spiritual discernment. Stay vigilant, stay blessed, and keep fighting in wisdom.